Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. It's 9 a.m. on Thursday, December 12th, 2024, and this is the scheduled time for the workshop to solicit comments regarding the proposed changes to Chapter 586 of Nevada Administrative Code. This workshop is being held in person at the Nevada Department of Agriculture headquarters in Sparks, also in the Las Vegas and Elko offices of the Nevada Department of Agriculture, as well as virtually via Teams for all who are interested. This workshop has been properly noticed and is being recorded today as required by Nevada open meeting law. My name is Megan Brown, and I'm the administrator for the Division of Plant Health and Compliance. The following staff members of the Department of Agriculture are also present. Ray Saliga, who is the Deputy Administrator for the Division of Plant Health and Compliance, Brett Allen, who is the Environmental Scientist 4, and Diane Reese, who is Administrative Assistant 3. I would like to quickly review the rulemaking process so that you have some background on how the rulemaking process works. As the first step, the NDA reviewed existing NAC language, updating sections due to an aid in achieving long-term solvency in Budget 4545. And the NDA is proposing through that solvency to increase its pesticide registration fee from its current $125, which was adopted in 2013 per LCB file R070-13A and established with industry in 2014. The $281 we are increasing it to $281 in an effort to help stabilize revenues in budget account 4545. The NDA has conducted an evaluation of its pesticide registration fee through an assessment of merging both budget accounts 4545 and 4552 and the additional funding available through various grants, projections of rate of personnel costs, and overall averages of revenue expenditures and long-term equipment replacement and maintenance service agreements for our chemistry lab. The draft we're reviewing in this workshop is the most updated version of the proposed changes found in LCB file number R186-24P. The department then distributed a small business impact survey for industry input. That information was compiled in a statement and was included in this workshop notice. This workshop is being held to review the proposed changes and receive public comment to help shape the final proposed language. Additional comments may be submitted following the workshop if deemed necessary. The NDA may choose to hold additional workshops. Following the workshop process, and once the Legislative Council Bureau has provided input and final approval to move forward, a hearing and intent to adopt proposed regulations will be scheduled and noticed. Public comment may be made before, during the specified period after the hearing. The draft coming out of the hearing process will then be adopted by the NDA and submitted for review by the Legislative Commission. After approval of the Legislative Commission or subcommittee to review regulations, the Legislative Council Bureau will file the regulations with the Secretary of State. At this point, it would be adopted from regulation. We are currently in the temporary regulation phase, so because we're moving into a legislative session in 2025, so these will be temporary regulations, and we will move through the final adoption after the legislative session. A few housekeeping items. We ask all those that are present to please sign in. We don't have anybody here in, I believe, any of the offices. If you intend to speak, please make sure that you state your name and spell your last name for the record. We'll be using some features of Teams. I don't know if any of you have been able to use Teams or interacted in a Teams platform. The instructions are here. The microphone is to mute on and off, and your camera you can turn on and off. I've enabled each participant to be able to do that. You may raise your hand or use the chat box to be able to make comment. We have muted everyone to reduce background noise. If you wish to give a public comment, please use the raise hand feature and we'll call on you to ensure your mic is unmuted. Those on the phone can unmute themselves when calling in by pressing *6. If you have any technical issues during the meeting, turn the video off to see if the connection improves. Leave the video meeting and either try to rejoin or call in using the call-in number, and that information is found on the agenda. If you are having problems getting unmuted or into the comment queue, use the chat function to make sure your comment, and we will get it recorded. In addition to public comments during this workshop, interested parties are also welcome to submit written public comment and send via email on the address, and that email address is also on the agenda, and it'll also be on the next slide. Since there is no sign-in sheet for the in-person workshop, we'll be using the participant list. If you're unsure if your name is visually correct in your Teams box, you may email the correct information to the email. Again, if you're joining via phone, please state your name and affiliation for the record. It doesn't look like we have any phone numbers, so we don't need to do that currently. From our agenda, you'll see we'll start with a period of open comment for anyone wishing to speak on concerns or provide input. This time is meant to collect your statements and feedback, and workshop organizers will not respond to comments provided during this time. As such, we invite you to hold your questions until that point of the agenda. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes to ensure everyone can be heard. As a moderator, I'll interject and notify you when you have reached your 3 minutes so you can conclude your remarks. Following open comment, we will review the proposed changes to NAC 586, followed by the time for questions and clarification. After questions, there'll be another period of public comment on the proposed changes. Those who wish to speak during public comment are requested to indicate their interest on the sign-in sheet or using the virtually raise hand feature. As a reminder for anyone who has joined over the phone, you can raise your hand by pressing *5, and once you've been called on, you can press *6 to be unmuted. Again, if you're on the phone, please identify yourself by your name and affiliation for the record. Again, please save your questions for after the public comment period. At the conclusion of the review of the proposed changes, there will be time for questions and dialogue at that point once all the information has been shared, and we can move on to the next round of public comment. As you can see, ensure that to state your name and affiliation, and if you want to provide written comments, you can email them to Diane. Emails here on your screen as well as on the agenda. I'm going to share. Oh, we have a couple people. All right, I'm going to share the LCB language for everybody to have on their screen. The department is proposing to make changes to Administrative Code 586. These regulation changes are necessary to aid in achieving long-term solvency in budget account 4545. The NDA is proposing an increase of its pesticide registration fee from the current rate of $125, which was adopted in 2013 per LCB file R070-13A and established with industry in 2014. We are now proposing to increase it to $281 in an effort to help stabilize budget account 4545. The NDA has conducted an evaluation of its pesticide registration fee through an assessment of merging our budget accounts 4545 and 4552, the addition of funding through various federal grants projections of personnel costs, and long-term equipment replacement and maintenance service agreements for our chemistry lab. We will review the proposed changes in detail to provide context of why the department is proposing these fees, and would like to give a brief overview. So as you can see, the changes proposed are only related to the fee. So section or NAC 586.001 will be amended as followed. The red is the deletion and blue is the proposed changes. So each registrant must pay an annual registration fee of proposed $281 for each pesticide registered. The director will deposit in a separate account, removing $40 and increasing it to $80 of each annual registration fee collected to, pursuant to subsection 1. The money in the account will be used to A, monitor and dispose of pesticides, B, protect groundwater and surface water from contamination by pesticides, and C, eradicate and control noxious weeds. I'm going to see if I can minimize this so everybody can see it in its entirety. We will now open the floor to public comment. Does anybody wish to provide public comment before we go into questions and answers? If you could please raise your hand. All right, I don't see anybody with a raised hand. Again, we will now take questions regarding the proposed changes. A quick reminder, please, again, use the raise hand feature, and we will call upon you. Please state your name for the record as well as your affiliation. Please keep your questions to 3 minutes to ensure everybody has had a chance to ask their questions. I'm not seeing any hands raised. Ray, is there anybody in the Las Vegas office that is interested in asking questions or providing public comment?
We have no attendees in the Las Vegas office.
Okay. Mary, in the Elko office, is there anyone that would like to provide public comment or questions? Are there any virtual attendees that would like to ask any questions or provide any public comment? Can you please raise your hand? Or you can turn on your camera. I will read one public comment. Since we didn't receive any questions, we'll end with general closing comments. We received comments from David from Greenhouse Garden Center in Carson City. And this is his written comment, and I will read it as written. As of January 2024, the cost registrations in our neighboring states are shown below. In California, it's $1,520, Colorado $165, Hawaii $330, Idaho $160, Montana $223, North Dakota $350, Oregon $320, and Utah $195. I have mentioned having the possibility of a sliding cost that deals with the gallons or pounds, as well as organic versus synthetic. It may take more effort up front, but the manufacturers know how much goes where. special or new items that might only have one or two buyers in the state are limited as to the cost pressures placed on the manufacturers, as you well know. A possible starting point might be as follows: 20 gallons or under $100, 20 gallons to 250 gallons, $250, over 250 gallons, $400. Organic products might have 50% of the fee. On the dry side of minerals, it might be as follows: 10 pounds or under, 10 to 250 pounds, and over 250 pounds. This might be an issue on fertilizers as pesticide control, but I don't foresee one. Thank you for considering my input, David. Oh. Hi, David. I actually just finished concluding reading your written public comment that you provided. Do you want to provide any additional context or questions? We can go back to the question and answer section if you'd like to do that.
Okay. Well, I just, as I put forth there, I indicated what the surrounding states were charging there, and everybody seems to have just a one level fee as far as registration, and I know that at times two different things come into play here. One is that you are charging money for repair of waterways and noxious weed programs, and with the organic side, my thought is that most organic materials don't seem to harm the waterway, so I was offering a possible chance to have them pay less for the organics. And then the other side was that sometimes there's companies that want to register a product and only one or two individuals in the entire state use it, and so the end user is going to be now charged that $280 there to have a small bit of product registered. So I was proposing the sliding scale as far as quantity, and then it may being that the higher end products generate more funds for the state's project than just having it as a flat rate.
Great, thanks, David. And based on that, we did some internal review of what data we're currently collecting from registrants, and we currently don't collect the volume of sales of those products. I know you've mentioned in your comment that we may potentially get those from the manufacturers, but currently we are not collecting that data, or whether it's an organic pesticide or a commercial pesticide. So again, we can look into if that's even a possibility to be able to collect that information and what that might look like to update our reporting requirements for entities. But as of now, I'm not able to report the proportion of current sales that that might be in your proposed buckets of the scaling of the fee as well as the weight.
Okay.
We also, just so you know, we haven't received any other public comment or questions from the other participants on the call. Again, I'll open it back up to public comment. If anyone is wishing to provide public comment at this time, please raise your hand. Public comment will be restricted to 3 minutes, and then please ensure that you provide your name and affiliation for the record. All right, I don't see any raised hands or anybody that is unmuted. Thank you. I'm going to close the second round of general public comment. Thank you all for your participation. The NDA will take the comments from today under consideration, along with any other written comments received during the rulemaking process. Following this workshop process, there will be a hearing for adoption of regulations scheduled and communicated. This notice for hearing will be posted not less than 30 days prior to the hearing date, and we will provide instruction on how to provide either written comment and the deadline for submission of written comments for the purpose of being included into the official record for the hearing. Thank you for attending this workshop, and we will close it as of 9:20. Thank you all for your participation.
Thank you.